Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another podcast. This is the first, I believe, with no cameras, and this is the first with a new name. I decided on the B&B Show as, I don't know, Ben and Brad Show. Make it just a little bit more
Nice ring to it.
professional. Nice ring to it, exactly. But sorry for no cameras. My Wi-Fi is bugging out, so I had to go mobile today. And I can't really have my camera on my phone. So yeah, I don't want my cellular to get absolutely drained, but we still got to put up some more content for you guys. Ben's been balling out with the Michigan basketball content, even after the catastrophic loss yesterday in Minneapolis. But we'll talk about that and more. We're going to start out, though, in the NBA. Um, Bulls have a solid lead as we're recording this, Ben,
hmm
against the Mavericks on the road in Dallas. This is shocking to me. The Bulls are 4-8. Billy Donovan, I'm gonna be completely honest, has been below my expectations. Sure, he had like 2 months to prepare, but still, I don't think the Bulls are a 4-8 team, and I'm a little bit worried.
I disagree so far. I feel like he's getting them to play with more competitiveness. I think the first two games of the season obviously were disgusting, but since those first two games, the Bulls have looked at least coherent in every game, and they've really it's been just inexperience
I
and
will
kind
say
of
the last 5 minutes in overtime against
oh
Oklahoma
my
City
god,
Thunder. Oh my God, just
the
an absolute train wreck.
this team needs to figure out how to win games, which is what Billy Donovan said in his press conference. That kind of falls on him, but it also falls on the players. I mean, turnovers, huge problem. Obviously, it's a really young team. Average age is younger on the Bulls than the Wisconsin basketball team,
Which
the
is
university,
crazy.
which, yeah, is nuts. And I think that's the main thing here. This is a talented team, but I don't think this is a playoff year because they're so young. Next year, I think it should be playoffs are the goal. But I think we have one more year of waiting.
Absolutely, and they need another superstar. I say that pretty much every time we talk about the Bulls on here and off camera. Um, you need at least two superstars to compete in this league. Giannis would not be leading the Bulls by him or the Bucks by himself to a top 4 or 5 seed in the East. That's how competitive the NBA is nowadays. You need at least two All-Star caliber players. It's even have your name up there in the discussion for the NBA championship.
And do you think
Yeah,
Zach
Lakers
Levine?
having a big start so far. Oh, sorry, no, go ahead, Ben.
Well, I was gonna ask you because you said we need another superstar. Do you think Zach Levine is a superstar? I don't even know if he's an all-star. He can score, but
What I mean by superstar is you need one superstar, one all star. You need the Batman and you need the Robin. I think Zach Levine is a good Robin.
Robin, I agree.
I think Zach Levine is an all star caliber player. He hasn't been an all star so far because he's been on dud teams, and he's just had bad coaches, a bad coaching staff, bad environment so far. I like the environment Billy Donovan is bringing to Chicago. You touched on that, and I just hope the environment will outweigh the wins and losses right now, and in a few years the Bulls will be competing for a championship.
I hope so too.
That's all we can ask for, right, Ben? We're the Chicago Bulls. We have the greatest player of all time.
Not in our
Um,
lifetime, but we'll hopefully get back to those heights soon, but not yet.
absolutely, absolutely. NFL playoffs. We're filming this on Sunday, so it's pretty much halftime right now in the Chiefs Browns game. Chiefs are dominating on both sides of the ball. But yesterday's games included the Rams Packers and the Bills Ravens. Rams Packers was never really close. The Packers had a 3-0 lead and just built on it progressively throughout the game. Finished the game with a 32-18 W. Devontae Adams absolutely torched Jalen Ramsey, and Jalen Ramsey looked like a complete buffoon for talking all his talk, and Devontae Adams looked like just a straight god for talking all of his talk and actually proving that his talk would translate to the game on Saturday. So good for Devontae Adams, good for the Packers. I believe I had them as my Super Bowl champion, Ben, and I do now if I don't. I saw enough from them. Sure, the Chiefs are blowing out the Browns now, but I don't know. I don't think the Chiefs have the defense to go back to back.
I disagree still. Just watching the first half of today's game, Chiefs are limiting the Browns very effectively, although there was that lucky break they got with Rashard Higgins' fumble into the end zone for a touchback. We just watched that before we turned the podcast on, and that was really probably the nail in the coffin for the Browns season. But the Chiefs are a dynamic offensive team. If their defense can just hold it together enough, I think they could win a shootout over any team in the league, and that includes the Packers, whose defense is decent, but it's not great, and it's not good enough to limit the Chiefs' offense. I think the Chiefs are still the Super Bowl champions in my mind, but obviously we don't know until they face off, if they do face off in 3 weeks.
Absolutely. And I'm not saying the Chiefs defense is bad. They have the Honey Badger. They have Chris Jones. Sorensen's been solid. They have a good secondary, a good little linebacker and D-line, a good front seven core. But the Packers just have superstars. Jair Alexander is probably the best DB or cornerback, at least in the league. Adrian Amos had some great seasons in Chicago. The Smith brothers have been very good, especially Zadarius. Kenny Clark has been a Pro Bowl type player for a few years. And I don't know. It'll be close, but I think they will end up meeting in the Super Bowl. Ben thinks the Saints will be that team out of the NFC. And we'll find out tonight.
If you want to talk defense, look at the Saints. But
They have the best, yes. But really quickly, Ben, I want to ask, so we've pretty much gotten through 2.5 games. These games have been subpar compared to hype. A lot of people thought they'd be close shootout games. They really haven't been. These games have not been amazing so far. But I'm really hoping, and if any live viewers are on here, which I don't believe they are currently,
not yet.
We're all really hoping for a hell of a game tonight in New Orleans. And I think it will live up to the hype. I think it will be a big-time game.
Yeah, I think this is the final showdown between two of the greatest quarterbacks of all time.
Sure.
Just, I read an article on ESPN. This is maybe the most consequential matchup they'll have. Is both teams obviously want to win a Super Bowl, and the question is, do Tom Brady and Drew Brees have what it takes? Just past this round, past whoever wins this round, great for them. But can they come out with a win against Aaron Rodgers and then potentially Pat Mahomes or Josh Allen, younger, more dynamic quarterbacks? Do these guys have enough left in the tank to get over the hump one last time? I don't know. That's a question that will be out there until they prove either they do or they don't. Brad, how do you feel about that?
I think you said it perfectly, Ben. I think whoever wins tonight is going to have an even bigger chip on their shoulder going up to Lambeau Field in the cold Wisconsin tundra. And if they can gut it out in the Midwest against Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams, and just all those players the Packers currently have. I mean, wow, that's just incredible.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think, but I'm going to be honest, but I don't think they can. You always talk about how it's never a 1v1. The 1 seed never faces off against the 1 seed. There's usually only 1 seed. Only 1 seed. I don't think that happens this year. The Packers, their body of work is far better in my mind than the Buccaneers and the Saints. And I think they're battle tested and they're ready. They have They had their bye week, which I think will prove key. The Chiefs also had a bye week. That week of rest is so important. So important. Just how I was talking yesterday with some people about how Khalil Mack probably only has 2 more years of Pro Bowl level play. And he was drafted in 2014. It's just, you don't have a million years of dominance like you do in the NBA or the MLB just due to your age. I mean,
Unless you're Tom Brady,
which is just impeccable, which makes him the GOAT. Maybe in my mind, we can have a GOAT discussion during the offseason because right now we're in the midst of the playoffs and we should be focused on the playoffs and we should be talking about the playoffs. But it's incredible what both Drew Brees and Tom Brady have been able to do over 20 years of play in the NFL. I believe Drew Brees is 20 years in the NFL. Tom Brady's 21. Is that right, Ben?
21 for Tom because he came in 2000. And I bet Drew Brees is around there. I don't exactly
He's
know.
at least 18 or 19. Yeah, he's close. I think he's actually 18. I feel like he was in the 2002 Rose Bowl with Purdue. I may be wrong, though. I might
That
just be
sounds
off.
right.
We'll see. But let's move on to college basketball to finish it off then. Of course, Michigan with the loss yesterday. Villanova started practicing again, I believe, on Thursday or Friday. And their game for this Saturday morning against Seton Hall is looking near certain. So that will be good to get some Villanova basketball
Yeah.
back. I need that in my life.
It's been a long time.
But yeah, Creighton, big loss against Butler. I will say, though, there's no, other than maybe Purdue, but Purdue and Butler are the hardest places in the country to go and play. Indiana, too. I swear, those Indiana road games are so tough.
And to Creighton's defense, they were missing Marcus Zagorowski, which is obviously one of their most impactful players. But Butler's not a good team this year. You got to find ways to win on the road. Obviously, both Creighton and Michigan could not do that this weekend, and I think it'll hurt them both in the long run, or in the short run. But I think in the long run, figuring out how to play on the road, and in the state of Indiana for Creighton especially.
Exactly. Well,
that
the state
could
of
be
Indiana
valuable.
for all teams because the tournament it's in Indiana.
I know.
And the Big Ten. Also yesterday, some rumors were coming out that they are looking and anticipating the Big Ten tournament to be played in Indiana. I'm assuming at Bankers Life Fieldhouse where the Indiana Pacers play, just due to COVID reasons. I mean, Indiana has a lot less restrictions. And it's not like it's on the West Coast where none of the teams are. It's right in the heart of the Midwest where the Big Ten is centered. The
And
NCAA is centered, for
it's
God's sake,
also
in
a site of the
Indianapolis.
tournament.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, the tournament's in Indianapolis. The NCAA headquarters are in Indianapolis. So it makes sense.
and yeah,
And also for less travel, because if you think about it, there will most definitely be multiple Big Ten teams making the tournament this year. Those teams don't have to travel back to their respective towns. They can just stay in Indiana. Less travel, less exposure, etc. Sure, there will be some games played, I believe, at Indiana University and Purdue. But still, hey, less travel. You can drive to those places. It just makes it, for COVID reasons, it just makes everything a lot easier.
And yeah, there's 4 sites in Indiana. We haven't talked about this yet on the podcast, but there's 4 sites. I think it's Butler, Purdue, Indianapolis, and then Iwipui, Indiana University, Purdue University, Indiana.
Oh, so Indiana University was wrong? I know it's Southern Indiana and it's further away, so you might be right.
No, neither you say that. But I read Iwipui on some site, so one of those sites is incorrect. But
IUPUI didn't they beat Kentucky a few years ago? I just remember that it might have been they had a major upset. IUPUI.
Yeah, I think you're thinking of University Indiana Fort Wayne.
You might be right. Who
beat Indiana? But
yeah, and Indiana. I just remember Indiana was good and they had a big upset. We're getting off track, but
back to the Big Ten for a moment. I just want to appreciate this conference. This is one of the better conferences I've seen in a long time. I think there's a lot of talent throughout the conference, even going down to the bottom of the conference where like Maryland, Northwestern, these are teams that couldn't pull an upset on any given night. And they would be tournament teams if they played in the SEC. I believe that. If they played in the SEC, they'd have probably 12 wins, 8 losses, a record that would look respectable.
No, you're probably
right. But they play in the Big Ten, so that's tough. And I think for the top end of the Big Ten, which is like Michigan, Illinois, Iowa, they're probably not going to be 1 seeds this year because of the conference's depth. I think they're going to have too many losses. I think teams like Villanova and Texas will maybe sneak out those 1 seeds this year.
Yeah, can we also talk about the Pac-12? Because nobody in the Pac-12 looks good. Like, the Pac-12 is just a complete dump right now. I just want to point that out there. I mean, Arizona State's probably going to end up winning the conference, and they're I don't even know if they should be ranked top 25, but they are, just because the Pac-12 needs some exposure. Just to end it really quickly, then, the Browns are down 19-3 in Kansas City. It's looking less and less likely like the Browns will come out on top.
That's too bad. I really did want them to pull the upset, even though I had Kansas City. I think Kansas City is great, so I'm not surprised, but still sad.
As well. All right, Ben. Well, another great podcast. I will see you later. All the viewers, make sure you like, subscribe, do all that good stuff, and we will come out with another podcast and more Notre Dame and Michigan content soon. Peace.
Yep.